Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and I am delighted to have you join us today on the Breaking Free Show. We're all very excited. We get to visit once again with some dear friends, and I'm going to introduce them to you in just a moment. But before we get on with the show, I want to say hi to Amnan.
Hello, Marilyn. How are you?
I'm good, Amnan. I'm good. How are you?
It's another week.
It's another week. It's another day in the neighborhood for
Yep.
sure, right? So we're off to the show, and I want to remind everyone that anytime during the show, you are more than welcome to call in. You can use a landline, 919, or a cell phone, 919-518-9773. That'll come right into the studio. Or you can come in on computers, that's plural, 2K voice, or you can partake in our chat right next to the video. You can put your name, nickname, whatever it is, and you can talk to us in there as well. But we really do welcome you, invite you anytime to call in. That's what makes this show even more exciting when we have people call in and share who they are, their comments, their questions. You can take us right off of anything we're talking about. If we say something and you go, oh, that's interesting, but call us. We'd love to hear from you. So let me introduce to you my guests today, Catherine and Wayne, all the way from Canada. All the way from Canada. Somebody in Canada will say that's not that far. How are you doing?
We're doing very well. We're happy to be here.
Good. I'm so happy to have you. Hey Wayne, you all dressed up for the winter?
Yes, set, all set. Pretty cold here and using lots of firewood.
So I want to explain to everyone that they are they're kind of like sort of off of the grid, which could at times make it a little bit difficult to understand or hear them. But I've been having conversations with them and I'm doing fine. What this means is you're just going to have to listen and kind of work at this a little bit with us. But it is interesting, it's fabulous, and you're going to love it. It's going to inspire you. And they are living at Freedom Cove. And I'm going to have them explain to you what Freedom Cove is. So why don't you, Catherine, why don't you share with everyone what Freedom Cove is?
Freedom Cove is a cove about 10 miles north and east of Tofino. That would be our nearest town. And we have created our own floating lifestyle here. We have our home as well as our floating gardens. I grow all my own vegetables to eat all year round. So we are eating fresh from that garden right now. We have a dance floor area because I'm a dancer and need a place to move. We have our floating boat houses, our floating woodshed. We have 4 floating greenhouses. We have the lighthouse building where my laundry is, and we have an extra shower for family and friends when they come to visit. And we have our candle factory building where we make beeswax candles from molds of our carvings. We have our gallery where we put our artwork on display. And we have our main house where we live.
So, Wayne, what now you have been the one who pretty much has been the architect. You've created all of this. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been a builder since I'm young and I was schooled and I've done a lot of things and I just love building.
And so, what does it mean to you to be able to look at what you've created and the lifestyle that you've created, that everything has a purpose? What is that like?
Well, 24 years ago, I knew I had done a lot of things at that point. And it was, I'm a practical man and I like to do my own thing. And it was an opportunity 24 years ago because this was an
Wayne,
investment
can
I
you
was
speak
making.
up a little bit louder because I can't hear you at all?
Okay, yeah. I started this project 24 years ago, and I have a background of making models and building ever since I was young. So it was an opportunity back then to do something I'd never done before.
Catherine, and so you're all art. Everything about you is artistic. I mean, you dance, you're an artist. And so living there at Freedom Cove, how has that inspired you?
When we decided to move out to Freedom Cove, almost 25 years ago, uh, our main impetus was because nature inspires us. So being in nature inspires everything we both do with our artwork. You get up in the morning and you're looking out your window and you see this beautiful water, beautiful trees around you, beautiful rocks, and it fills you up, it nourishes you, it brings you peace, and it spurs your creativity.
So it's cold out there. So do you dance outside this time of year?
At this time of year, I actually have a space upstairs that's large enough for me to move around.
Uh-huh.
So I only go outside if it is warm enough. I am an older lady now, and it's a little hard in the bones to dance in the cold.
And you dance to what kind of music?
I dance to a variety of music, and I also often just dance without any music, which is a wonderful feeling to do that.
Okay, so I'm just going to remind you both, just once again, if you could just make sure you're looking towards the camera, because I think that'll help with the sound. That'll be great. Thank you. So Chris has a question. She said, "How has the experience of living in Freedom Cove influenced you both spiritually?"
I am a very spiritual person. For me, living in the cove keeps me connected to my soul self daily. It's even going to Tofino can throw me off balance. And as soon as I come back home and breathe in the air here, take in the energy of the nature all around me, I'm quickly brought back to balance. It
Mm.
keeps me mindful of myself and what I'm doing in each moment. So therefore, it keeps me connected to my soul to
Hmm.
be out here.
Yeah. And what about you, Wayne? What is that? What's your spiritual connection growth that you can pinpoint to living at Freedom Cove?
Well, I'm a pretty down to earth guy. I'm very practical, but you can't live out in nature like we do all this time and not be spiritual. It's something that sort of creeps in on me, and I use it in my instincts when I'm out here. The weather or predators or anything. It's a real deep, subtle, quiet experience for me. It's not something I talk about. It's something I live because in nature, that voice when you're out there, it tells you what to do and where to go. I think that's my spiritual experience.
Mm. I loved what you both just said, and let me just kind of reiterate that a bit. When we asked Wayne and Catherine about their spirituality and how living at Freedom Cove, which is, it is relatively off the grid. I mean, there's nobody around much except for bears and animals and nature in general. And Wayne said that he doesn't talk much about it, he just lives it. And I would say that that is a beautiful way to describe spirituality, because so often, a lot of people say, well, I'm very spiritual. I'm so spiritual. I am, and talk more than being it, I think. And I liked what you just said, so I really appreciate your reiterating that for us, because that's important. I mean, about being it and not having to explain it, but just living it, enjoying it, sharing it through your beingness. So that's important. Before we went live, Catherine and I were having this conversation about Freedom Cove being their own sanctuary, which, we live in a world full of hustle and bustle, and there's all kinds of technology, stimulation, all kinds of things going on all around us, giving our power away here, our power away there, thinking that, we have to just follow people instead of creating our own path. And some people are creating their own path while others kind of are frustrated and not recognizing, realizing how they too, wherever they are, can create a path. And I am curious about how Catherine and Wayne have created their own sanctuary, because that's what they've done. And I'd like to define what a sanctuary means, because I think you can create a sanctuary in your bedroom if you so choose. And what does it mean to live in a sanctuary and to take care of yourself? So, Catherine, you and I were chatting about this earlier. How do you define, what you've created as being a sanctuary?
Where I live is a sanctuary because it is a place where I feel I can let go of boundaries. I feel safe. I feel I can be exactly who I am without concern that anything or anyone is going to prevent that. I can breathe deeply. I can relax into myself. I can feel myself wholly and completely. So I am protected by being able to release fully.
Mm.
That to me is my sanctuary.
Yeah, I think that it's really important these days for people to realize that creating peace wherever you are, a sanctuary within yourself, is is so important. I mean, sometimes you can't create a freedom cove, but how do you create an experience that you can feel like you're living in a peaceful place and a place that protects you and nourishes you? I mean, it's amazing. Show them a picture, show our audience a picture, Catherine, of Freedom Cove.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, just raise it up just a slight bit. There you go. So, just so everybody knows, their house is on the left, right? Is it the last building on the left, or is it the third one?
Okay, I'm just going to look at the picture.
Okay.
I'll put my finger beside it. There we go.
Okay. So it's that one. That's your home. And how big is it? Like square footage wise or size?
Our square footage
It's
is
about 1,200 square feet.
1,200 square feet. That's a nice size little house. How many floors, Wayne?
Yeah, warm and cozy. It's an upstairs and downstairs, and it's really meant as a studio for two.
Uh-huh.
It's big. Yeah, it's really designed for us to do our art and be warm and cozy and not too big.
And so the way you live, um, without distractions, and the fact that it's very much the two of you most of the time, how has that impacted your relationship?
Well, sense of humor is everything.
Say that again. Say that again.
Sense of humor is everything.
Oh yeah. You did that right away, didn't you? I mean, even before you answered, you started to laugh.
Oh yeah.
Catherine, what do you think?
Well, I agree. Having a good sense of humor keeps the relationship long lasting. And we have been together, well, it'll be 30 years coming up this year. And we've been out here almost 25 years.
Mm.
And we know each other really well. That's the other thing about living this way. You can't hide from each other, and you really have to work through your issues, and you have to really be with each other because you're with each other all day long. Now, we have many things that we're doing in our day so that we're in different places on our independent individual things we do, but we know the other is always present. And for myself, I have to say that I'm glad of that. And when one of us is away for a time period, you really do feel that because you are so used to each other's presence.
So when you're left there, Catherine, and Wayne leaves, are you scared?
No, I'm not scared. I have to say that I feel safer out here than I do anywhere else on the planet. So I don't have any angst when Wayne goes. I just have the knowing that I'm out here by myself. I'm comfortable by myself. I don't have a problem with that. But it is more pleasant to have that companion.
Mm, right. And Wayne, what do you? I mean, I know, but you. I mean, maybe that was, double standard asking her if she was scared. But I know that you are into the tech. You handle all the technology. You've built it all, and I just wonder what happens if you're not there. Do you feel like you always have to be there in case something goes wrong with any of your buildings, the technology, the sewage, anything? Do you feel like you can leave, or is it depending? Is the environment depend on you more than you depend on the environment?
Well, it's not that hard if, when you've done as many things as I. It's not. Nature's predictable, and as I said, I've done a lot of building, and I created this so that it's fine if I'm not here. Some light maintenance, but as far as major problems, there hasn't been any because I built it with that in mind. Being in nature's predictable. The city's not. You never know what's going to happen. It's hard to predict. But out here, and in this environment, I did my homework, and I think that's what's really important. That people have to do their homework when you're doing something like this, and I have. So it was really important that in my absence, I give Catherine my little list of that things could possibly go wrong, and she's well versed in that. So it's really a practical approach to living, um, and that you got to get up every day. And when you have done what I've done here, I know every board and nail by name, as I say, and I know what it can and cannot do. But I'm very happy after 24 years that uh, the way we put it together and learn as I went along, that it's worked out really well. The engineering of it, the strength of it, the flexibility of it. It's something I've always wanted to do. Make my own mistakes and learn from them. And I have made mistakes out here, and I've had to fix them as quickly as I can because we get storm force winds, we get heavy seas, and we have to be able to deal with that. Catherine's very practical as well, and there isn't too much I don't know that she doesn't know about what this project's all about. And I just want to say that when we first started this project, we both talked to each other a lot about what we were willing to do, and we took on a homesteader's lifestyle where we both have chores, we both have things we must do to make this work, and then in our spare time that we've earned, we do the creative thing. So it's all about doing your homework. It's all about being out here over these years and learning where the problems are and being able to fix them. I like that kind of life.
Mm. And so, of your day, how much time is actually spent, like with your chores, as opposed to your free time?
Well, it's seasonal, and we relive six
Mm-hmm.
seasons a year, and our busiest times, there are more busy times than others. And this time of year, things are slowing down a little bit on certain things, but speeding up on others. So it's a matter of enjoying the fact that you're going to have at least six things to do that day. And me now, I'm doing about a 5 hour day where I have to get out and do those practical things, but it used to be 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it just matters what time of the year is what demands are put on us. And this time of year, things are slowing down enough that I can stay indoors and get on with my art.
Mm, gotcha. Interesting. Well, I just want to remind everybody you're welcome to call in 919-518-9773 or Skype in with us at computers, that's plural, 2K voice. And certainly you can come into the chat and talk to us through there. So, Catherine, as a woman, is there anything that you miss from living in the city or anything that you have acquired greater as a woman than living in the city?
At this point, I don't feel like I miss anything from living in the city. When you first move out here, you go through what I call the deceleration process, where you go through withdrawal from the instant things, for example, going to the corner store or going to a movie, going shopping at the mall, those sorts of things. And it really doesn't take long to let that go. Once you have, you really appreciate the peace that you have here. You really appreciate, for example, in the summer when Tofino has tourist season and they're overrun with crowds and noise, I fully appreciate the quiet and the sanctuary that I have out here. I think that I am more fully evolved as a person and a woman because I am conscious. I am conscious. I'm not distracted. I'm focused. I'm um, fully on in all aspects of myself through living in nature. That's something that really happens to you. You can really understand the animals and how they operate because their radar is always up. They know what's going on around them. That happens to us as well by living out here.
So, give me examples of what it means to be on like that. Is that, are you telepathic? I mean, what does it mean to be conscious and to be on that much and that well?
Yes, for me, there is psychic expansion. I am a healer and I do intuitive work with people. And they come here to me for me to do that because here I can be the clearest. You feel with all your senses, including your extra senses. It's important to know that our mind operates not only in our head, but it operates throughout our body. You have more awareness through your gut. You're connected to your gut. That's where your intuitive self really links in to life and everything going on around you. And that doesn't get blurred or confused when you live this way.
Mm. So, when you talk about people coming to work with you, do you have people that come and stay there? Is it like not a spa, not a resort, but uh, a place that people can come and just rejuvenate?
No, we don't have accommodation for people to come and stay. Family and friends, of course, will come and stay, but people will come out for a day or afternoon experience when they come to me for healing. We also have, in the good part of the year, between June and September, we have tours that come to explore our place. And they would be, if they're coming from town, that would be about an hour experience for the people. And then we have a large resort near us. When they come, it's usually a half hour.
Wow. And so, do you also serve lunch or snacks there, people or not?
Well, one of my lines is far as people coming is, I won't turn my wife into a maid.
Wait, say that again. You won't what?
Turn my wife into a maid.
Ah, God, I love him too. Good for you. So good for you. So that's an interesting
Well,
comment. Go ahead.
well, my mom taught me that. She wouldn't be a maid to me. So uh, they come here and have a visit. If you want a spiritual experience and you want a healing, you talk to Catherine. If you want to chop wood and catch a fish, you talk to me. That's how I fit in.
Oh.
I, I would take people out and show them the eagles I know and some of the geography of here and just why we're able to live away from everyone and we share. It's a knowledge-based lifestyle. You have to do and learn things, and that's what makes it so interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to my instincts and spirit, I use it in my living, not in my conversation with people. I use it for myself. You have to survive out here. I've met every animal in Canada, you name it. I've met it, face on, and I'm still here to tell you about it because I use my instinct, and my spirit comes from being able to survive out here with the kind of predators we have, with the weather we have, and that's where I feel it. That's where I use it. I do talk to some people about it, but that's how I apply my spirituality.
Interesting. And do you think that you have the kind of home, the kind of product, say, that can be produced? That somebody would come to you and say, could you model this for me somewhere else? Could you do that?
Well, yes, I'm schooled. I've schooled in architecture. I've had two trades in the profession in my life.
Well, I
I'm out of
can't.
the
I'm
sciences.
sorry. I couldn't hear your response.
Uh, yeah. I've done a lot of schooling in my life, and that's really important. That's the background.
She was asking you if you could reproduce this somewhere
Oh
else.
yeah. In a way, we're sharing it now visually. I'm that kind of kid that all I needed to do was see something. It didn't have to explain too much to me. And this is a visual experience. It's a applied science. It's something that once you start to see how we work, it's anybody can take the time and learn how to create their own dream or their own model. I've been a model maker since I was little.
Mm.
So looking at this as a picture, you're actually looking at my model.
Exactly.
So model, very big thing for me to share how one goes about doing this sort of thing. Model making is a school to me of art that shows young minds how to make things. So being a maker, being practical, and meeting people and doing my homework, that's how you go about doing something different. And we share that.
So, and do people come to you? Have are there others like you, couples like you, individuals that have come to you and said, "I want to do something like this. Can you help me?"
It's been more like uh, sharing the fact that you can have a dream and have your own dream. We encourage that. But as far as doing this, as my mother would say, you got to be nuts. So, so it's not for very many people, but we are getting a lot more people from all over the world, very curious about and having very good answers, questions, to us about where do you start, how do you go about something like this. So we're wide open as far as what we've done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more people would like to know about it than want to do it.
You know, I think it's fabulous that you haven't, like you haven't become commercialized. You haven't lost your connection to nature and you're still I venture to say, and I didn't know you before, but yes, you've grown, but I would venture to say you're still the same old kind of people, that you were before. And you haven't been jaded or, lost your sense of purpose and why you're doing this to begin with.
Yeah, we have families and children and grandchildren that love us, and they're not going to let us get too far off to the left or right. So, yeah, we have people around us that are very straight and honest, and we all are, and they know we're different. We're not regular,
Mhm.
but we have that kind of support where people are straight and honest. And we live in an area with people that are very practical. One of the reasons we do live here and choose to be here over all these years is there's some pretty special people here that are just like us, that are independent, like to be on their own, and but still really good neighbors, and
Mhm.
share the knowledge of what makes life better here. And I think that's what's probably the most important is practical people around you who feel the same way somewhat, and we have that.
But you live right on the water, right? A lot of all the other people live more on the land, but you live right on the water, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a small number of people that float, but very few because the weather conditions are so harsh, and there's
Mhm.
so few places to float that it's very unique.
So, do you feel the movement now of living there? I mean, like while we're talking, is your home kind of moving?
Actually, yes, it is. It's always moving. I've made a flexible system where uh, ropes are tied to shore with weights on those ropes, like heavy chain on those ropes, so that it always stays has tension. But it's built to move, and right now it's moving a little bit. It goes up and around about 20 feet all
Hmm.
the time. So depending on the weather, determines how fast it moves.
Ah, gotcha. Catherine, is there anything you wanted to add to anything we've talked about at this point? Is there anything?
Something that's just been coming through my mind in regards to sanctuary is that one has to create sanctuary within themselves so that no matter where they are on the planet, they maintain that sanctuary. And to do that, one has to go inward, has to feel from their whole being, and be awake and pay attention, and come from a place of love, love for themselves and love for everything that exists. If you do that, then you always have sanctuary.
So, let me understand also. Let's explore this. So, a sanctuary is not necessarily a place that you hide, right?
No, no, no. It is where you feel the most comfortable, where you feel your full, complete self.
Mhm. Exactly. So if anybody out there has had an experience creating a sanctuary, I would love you to call in and share that with us because I'm really interested in what it looks like for different people. I mean, it's so rare to come up with a freedom cove. I mean, it's so rare. But if anybody out there has been experiencing creating a sanctuary, whether it's in your home, in your backyard, wherever you have created a place that is yours, that you feel peace, you feel like you can be yourself, that it just speaks to you and it's got your name all over it. I would love you to call in 919-518-9773, or you can come in on computers, that's plural, 2, the number 2K voice on Skype, computers 2K voice, and share what your sanctuary looks like. I've been to a bird sanctuary where it's all birds and it's like their natural habitat. I mean, it was for them, not for me, right? I've been to a bird sanctuary and it's beautiful. And there's all kinds of places for birds to perch and fly, and it's their land, not my land. So I'd love to hear what everybody has to say if you are experiencing it, or if you want. I think Wayne and Catherine really know how to do it. So give us a call, and we'd love to hear from you. And you can interrupt our talk anytime. So don't feel like because we're talking you can't call. You can call anyway. I give you permission. So, Catherine, what do you do when you're not spending those 5 hours kind of working on sustaining yourselves? What does your freedom look like there?
The other things that I do in my day are creative things. So, time for dance, time for meditation, time for artwork, carving, writing, painting, time to go out and be in nature, hiking, canoeing,
Hmm.
and the joy of pulling from my garden, going out and harvesting what I'm going to have for my meal, the process of bread making as well. I think the other thing about doing things that take time to do is it really brings you a feeling of self-sufficiency, a feeling of empowerment, because you know you are doing this for yourself. You know exactly where it's come from. So all the things that I just described uh, fill me up in my day.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a very important part. I want to reiterate it a little bit. This notion of time and of not being on a specific schedule for your artwork and things like that, and not being so structured does allow you this freedom of empowerment to feel that kind of like your time is your own in a sense. And you don't own, nobody owns your time but you. No, but you're not, and that must be, I can't even imagine what that's like. I mean, I can only imagine, let me put it to you that way. I can only imagine what that must be like, you know, not to have to catch a bus to go to work, just to kind of walk outside or be inside. And everything you do, though, has a purpose.
Yes, that's right. And it is a wonderful feeling to operate and work with time the way that works best for you. And you really get to experience how each day is different. And there are different rhythms and cycles. So that one day it may be appropriate to do something in the morning, whereas the next day it's better to do that same thing in the afternoon. It really allows you to explore that when you live how we live.
Right. Absolutely. And what about you, Wayne? What is your time when you're not doing the sustainable everyday things? What do you do with your extra time or more time?
Well, that's interesting because time management is huge in my life. I manage my time. Time is so important. It's so precious because
What,
it's
I
short.
can't hear you. Say that again. You manage your time what?
It time management is so important. Time is precious. It's so important to use your time. So I work hard at having my own time to do what I want when I want to do it. And I've spent a lot of years disciplined in the sciences and school to be able to come out here and manage my time. That's very important because there's so little of it. You have to work hard. You have to really enjoy your time. And I spend a lot of time thinking about, well, what am I going to do in the next few days so I can have a little free time? So, as I say to the kids, go to school, learn about time and what it's worth, and then out of school, choose your teachers.
Mm.
There's two kinds of teachers in my life. One's in the institution where I've gone to many schools, and there's the other teachers where I've stepped out and chose them. And my out of school teachers, the practical teachers who showed me things in my life so I can be a free man with the knowledge that I've given. knowledge is power. Time is yours, and I want to use it for me and share it with my friends and my neighbors to prosper.
Mm.
If we could, our own time, we could prosper with each other. And to me, it's about the bottom up, not from the top down. And there's a lot of young people who want to do things with their hands in their head, and
Right.
time is an important thing to pay attention to.
You know, it's so interesting, and I'm so glad you're all out there really listening. And you're listening and grabbing hold of every word, because when with what Wayne just was talking about time. Now I don't know about you all, but I had made up that there's 24 hours in a day, right? And Wayne and Catherine have no real restriction on their time other than what they impose on their time. And one of the things they both focus in on is making the most of their time. And they have, you could say, nothing but time on some level. And yet, it can get away from you just like it can living anywhere, doing anything. And so, yeah, the most important thing is how we utilize our time. Otherwise, it will get away. And especially when you don't have other people deciding for you how you're going to spend your time, you don't have a structure. You have to make structure it yourself. Otherwise, you will get nothing accomplished and there will be no purpose. Wayne, did you want to add something to that?
No, that's right. It's really common sense when you meet the right people who encourage you to make use of your own time. And I was taught very young to learn as much as I can so that when I grow up, I'll be able to use it for me and my time. And I'm very grateful for that. I think it was one of the best things I was ever taught was learn as much as you can from as many people so that you can have a life.
It's really quite brilliant when you all think about this, how much Catherine and Wayne have accomplished in 25, 30 years of being together and of studying, of looking for the right place. I mean, they've created their own village. I mean, their own habitat. Look what they've created. They have everything there. And so it's amazing how much, because they've worked and studied and made the most of their time, what they've been able to create, over no time, really. Catherine, what were you going to say? Did you have something to say?
I was, yeah, I was thinking about the aspect of aging as well.
Of the aspect of what? I said,
Aging. When you live how we live, I feel that you age in a way that keeps you alert and present, alive, and always wanting to learn and have interest in life. That keeps your memory there. That keeps your youthful feeling there. It helps you age more slowly. I feel that again in the hectic world that most people live in, there's so much information coming in that the mind at some point just wants to shut it out and shut down. And this has a lot to do with people not maintaining memory and not learning new things as they get older.
good point. I mean, and you don't have to answer this question, but you both look really vibrant. Do you want to give us like an age span that you are, or do you want to leave or not go there because you both look great?
Checks in the mail, kid. But I'm 68.
And
Wow.
I'm 60.
And you're 60. Wow.
Yes.
And you both look great.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So what you just said um, is so true that when you're not there's no I mean there's wear and tear, but wear and tear, the stress of everyday life, the small stresses, the things that we place such tremendous value on, they age us terribly. And when you live in the way that Catherine and Wayne have allowed themselves to live, you don't have those same kind of, you have other things that happen, but you don't have, you know, they're by your choosing, and you don't have the same kind of issues that everybody else has, or a lot of us have, as far as the stress is concerned. Wayne, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, well, that's interesting because stress and complaining leads to depression. And because I chose to do this project, I was 43 when I started this project, that when I have a bad day, I can reflect to myself and say, well, I chose it. So I got no one to complain to and nothing to feel depressed about it, and get up and get on with the job you got to do. And that's sort of how I've always approached it.
Right. And that's a good point, because unless you've chosen to be upset, or chosen the way of life that you have now chosen to be upset with, you're choosing all of that. So those are very good points. So just I know that you've said you make candles and this sculpture going on. Tell us what you sell, and and what you sell. Do you ship out your candles, or do we have to just come and visit?
Uh, well, first of all, what people don't know is uh, primarily I'm a carver. I've been carving for 44 years. So I've made a living as a carver, still do somewhat, but I've got the old age pension now, which means I don't have to chase 20 bucks. But I still do my work. I'll always do it. So one of the reasons it allows me to be off the grid in a way is that I make my living as a carver. And that's, as all art, that comes and goes, and there are good years and bad years. And these days, if you can sell a piece of art, you're doing really well. So I live off my practical day, and because I do that, I don't need as much money as most. We just need so much a year, and it'd be nice to do better than that, but we subsistence live. It means live off of what we can, and barter is very big in my life. So we don't have to come up with huge stacks of money, but enough to get by.
What do you barter with, or for, not what you have, but what do you barter for?
Well, you can't expect yourself to do everything, and some people are really good at things, and you should be able to have stuff that you can trade with your neighbors and people around you. And I work with other people to get to know them. I mean, we're talking over 40 years here. So I've got to know the neighborhood by being hands-on, working with my neighbors, and they're practical people here too. And that's very important. It doesn't take all money to get by, and that's been a major part of choosing to be with the people that are here. Most of us feel that way, that if you do a bit of trade, it doesn't take all money to have a life. That's very important to me.
You
So
know,
we could do it's, for example, we do a trade with the dentist. He likes the carving we do, so we can give him carvings for our dental work. We, with neighbors, someone may come and they would have salmon available. I could trade vegetables from the garden for the salmon they have, that sort of thing.
mm. A long time ago, we had this gentleman on our show. I think the name of his book is something about it started with an apple, and he started trading started with an apple, and he would like give an apple, and he would get a job, and he built up. He ended up with a house in Hawaii, and started with an apple just from trading. He would do odd jobs, he would sing, he would dance, he would do whatever, and started with an apple. It's fascinating. And what about?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. My currency, you might say, has been my labor and my carving. Whenever I've met somebody here that said, "When I love your carving," and they're practical, for hard-working folks, not wealthy, uh, we're able to trade and barter for things they have in their backyard, like gas tanks, boards, shingles, nails, and I'm able to build my projects by trading with these people with my art.
Mm.
I've been very fortunate that way.
Really is a labor of love, isn't it?
Yeah, that,
Catherine, what about you? What's in your art? Where are you selling it? Or like, and how do you do your healing? I mean, how to like our audience that's listening, if they wanted to connect more with you, how would they do that?
Well, just like Wayne, my artwork will go for trade, and yes, I sell it as well. Neither of us sell our work over the internet. It's people know us here, and we make our connections that way. Same way with my healing work. I don't promote it over the internet. It's people know who I am, and they come out to see me that way. I do barter with my healing work as well. So, and I also work only by donation. I don't have a set fee. So if people want to pay cash, they just give me a donation.
And you're also getting your homeopathy certification, is that right? You said?
Yes, that's right. I'm in the final stages of completing that.
And so what will you do with that?
I'll just add that in to what I'm already doing as a healer. It will become another part of my toolkit.
Hmm. So, I find it's so fascinating to sit here. I love storytelling. I love to hear people share their stories. And here we've had a chance, a glance into the lives of Catherine and Wayne, which is different than most people I know. And so much of what they've said today, I can understand. I mean, I can visualize it. I can emotionally understand some of the experiences that they've had, and the sense that they have made through how they've shared what they've done. And I hope you all out there have too, that you can take whatever piece of what they said, whether it was how they divide their day, whether it was about, how they sustain themselves, whether it's about time management and learning, you know, take on something. Don't just talk about it, learn about it, go do it. Look back on your life and say, look what I've accomplished because I've learned how to do it. It's not everything, doesn't just come to you free willy. You've got to go and creating a sanctuary. It's not like, hello, let me create a sanctuary. I'll sit back and just let it happen and maybe light a candle. That is not it. There is work to be done to satisfy, these desires and these needs. So I want to thank you all for letting us into your life and sharing this. And while you were talking, I thought to myself, huh, they're like a modern day Tarzan and Jane. Has anybody ever told you that?
no, it's a good one.
Is that a good one?
not even, yeah,
Do,
yeah, I'm not even close to Tarzan, but Catherine's pretty good Jane, all right.
she, I think. Well, I think you're her Tarzan. You may not be flying
That's
from
a
a
first.
tree. What?
That's a first. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Do you feel like Jane, Catherine?
I think I do in certain ways, and I do call Wayne, I call him Wilderness Wayne.
Okay, so we got ourselves a Tarzan and Jane. Yay! I can see you writing a book about that. Actually, are you right? You said, did you say you're writing a book, Catherine? I was about to call you Jane. Catherine, are you? Did you say you're writing a book?
Yes, I have been keeping a journal all these years, and I am going to be writing a book about our life out here.
Mm-hmm. So I would love it when you do, because I think it's fascinating and it's great for I think it's so good to share these things so people know that this is not a figment of somebody's imagination. That this was a figment of somebody's imagination and they made it happen. That you can have a figment and you can make it happen. And I want to get out there and say that. So it's a pleasure. So in the final moments that we have, um, Wayne, is there anything that you would like to leave our audience with? Any kind of words of wisdom?
I guess so. Just encouraged to learn by doing and choose your teachers.
Ah, okay. Let me say that in case you didn't hear it. Learn by doing and choose your teachers. That's that's really encouraging. And what about you, Catherine?
Well, to add to what you were saying, everything starts in the imagination. Everything starts with ideas. And if you have full belief in yourself and full belief in what you want to invest your energy in, then it will happen. You create it. You create your life. We all create our life.
And I really feel, again, I feel really strongly in the things that Catherine and Wayne stand for. And on Facebook, if you will go to my Facebook page, Marilyn Shannon on Facebook, I have posted a question about what does a sanctuary mean? There's a lot of talk right now in the United States about sanctuary cities and what does it mean to be a place that people feel safe. And I think we need to really explore. We're given an opportunity right now that the word sanctuary is being discussed. What does it mean to live somewhere that's a sanctuary? And it's there's more to that than that. I think Freedom Cove, the philosophy behind Freedom Cove, has the philosophical definition of what a sanctuary is like. It's not just a place that has, you know, it's not, it's a different kind of a structure. And I think we have to explore what what the definition, how the definition is being defined now, and we need to expand that definition and not just take a definition that somebody hands us, that we get to say, this is something else, and I like it to be this way. Wayne, go ahead. Did,
Yeah, there's more than one way.
say that again?
There's more than one way to do things.
Absolutely. And I think too often we're taking what we're being given and saying, this is it. And this is not it. Just like what they've created. This is, I mean, now here's not to say that somebody doesn't take Wayne and Catherine's idea and expand it and make it even look a little bit different. And on some levels, juicier maybe for them. But I think too often we take what we hear and we put everything into that and say this is it, and it's not it. We have an opportunity now to see people like Catherine and Wayne doing things that we too can model in our own lives. So I'm off my rant. So Catherine, one final word. Anything?
I just want to say again to everyone out there to follow your dreams and live life the way you want to.
Right on. And what about you, Tarzan? Any other final words from you?
Ditto. I
Ditto.
agree.
I agree. And I would say ditto too. And I would say that's why I'm here. And that's what I'm going to keep on doing. And you've inspired me even more today. Um, and I appreciate that. So thank you so much for being a stand for freedom, for living your dream, for relationship. We didn't talk a whole lot about that, but don't, go away today from today's show and imagine, even if we didn't go into it, imagine what they do to keep their relationship like like they do. Imagine. Just imagine what it is. That's all. Imagine the dream. So with that, I want to thank everybody out there for being with us today, and for Wayne and Catherine for joining us once again. And maybe next time we'll talk to you and we'll be outside, and you could take us for a little trip around the Cove. Okay?
Sounds great.
Sounds
Sounds good.
wonderful. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful winter, and I thank you so much for being here. And everybody out there, thanks so much for joining us today. And Amnon, have a great week. Bye, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.